What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to another Warframe video. So today, we're not going to be showing a really good primary like the last couple of videos. We're going to show how normal, generic assault rifles work in Steel Path missions. And yes, as expected, this is really not good enough compared to some of the actual good stuff we've been showing on the channel, like the Tsar, the Trumna, whatever. Like, this is not as good. We're going to show one of my favorite assault rifles, the Prisma Grakata, with a juiced up build, basically maxed out, and we'll show why this doesn't work, why it's potentially, there's nothing they can do about it, and how this will never be the meta still. Now that we've actually gotten the gun buffs. Before we get into it, make sure you're subbed to the channel and all that stuff, and make sure you let me know how you feel about these in the comments down below, because you know what, it's honestly kind of sad. We've got an 8 form-up Grakata build here, so yeah. Alright, let's go over it. So what we're running right here is we're going to be running the new Galvanized mod. So we've got Galvanized Aptitude, which is basically condition overload for guns. So on kill, you will get 40% damage per stats effect on the enemy for 20 seconds. And then you can get that 40% stacked on top of itself twice. So it'll become 80% damage per stats effect on the enemy. And keep in mind, this is not capped. They said some really dumb stuff when they were making their patch notes. This is not capped. The enemy can have 10 stats effects on them. It will give you damage per all 10 of those stats effects. What is capped is the 2 stacks. You get 40 from the first stack, and then 80 from the second stack. Those on-kill effects. The condition overload part of this is uncapped. So you got that, very important mod. Actually, not really. If you have a Riven, you can honestly take this mod off. It does not feel like it's super important, especially if you have a Riven. This is giving us like 5 times more crit multiplier, and another 60% crit chance. Honestly, the Galvanized Aptitude mod, this is the Riven slot, in my personal opinion. We've also got Galvanized Chamber. This is a mod that you should always be running if you have it. Multi-shot, and then on kill you get increased multi-shot, going up, stack up like 5 times, a 230% multi-shot. We've got Rhyme Rounds and Malignant Force for giving viral damage. The viral damage will basically mix with the status chance and give us viral procs. And since we're running Hunter Munitions, which will give us slash procs on crits, viral procs, and slash procs mixed together for giving you armor bypassing damage, that's very good. Critical Delay, basically a power creep mod that has increased crit chance compared to Point Strike. On the Prisma Grakata, we go to 75% crit chance. If you took that off, it would be a little bit lower. I think like 60 something. What else you basically need to run this mod is just crit damage, the best crit damage mod. And we've got Prime Bay and the Grenier. If you do not want to run Prime Bay and the Grenier, you want to deal less damage but shoot more enemies at once, you can put on Prime Shred if you have that. Give you some punch through and some increased fire rate. The reason we're not running Serration is because we have Primary Merciless. And this is another reason why I think Galvanized Savvy might not even be worth it. So basically on kill gives you increased damage, stacks with 12 times. You get increased reload speed and ammo maximum. For a bullet hose like the Prisma Grakata, you don't need it, but it's helpful to have the extra ammo. We've also got Vigilante Supplies, giving you increased potential to go from yellow crit to orange crit to red crit. You can also run Stabilizer right here and stuff if you think the recoil is too out of control for you. Alright, so the Prisma Grakata, let's get some gameplay on the screen of, it in the Steel Path. Now, this thing is actually pretty strong compared to like other assault rifles. This is a pretty high, it's got 25% crit chance, 2.5 multiplier, really high fire rate, pretty big magazine, 21% status chance. The biggest problem with it is it's impact focused. So all the slash shots you'll be seeing basically are from the Hunter Munitions that we're popping here. But as you can see, we're basically mowing enemies down. The time on target is relatively low, but even then it's not fast enough. My personal opinion is that to run a primary in the Steel Path, it's gotta be AoE. It's AoE or nothing, because I fire the Tsar once, this entire room's dead. I'm having to basically hold on my trigger down on target on all these enemies to even get anywhere near close to Tsar kill times. And by the way, it's nowhere near the Tsar kill time. It's doing decent damage, but yeah, it's really unfortunate. Like, the only things that we're basically addressing single target versus multi-target in this update were Primary Deadhead and I guess Galvanized Scope. So you could probably put Galvanized Scope in here, but the thing is, this is not good. What they should have done is potentially made a mod, like a corrupted mod, a new like Nightmare mod, where it's going to give you crit damage and punch through, maybe. I'm not saying punch through would make this thing automatically as good as an AoE Tsar or something like that, but look at me. I use the Sevagoth pull ability. All those guys are dead. This is also competing with melee. Melee is still viable, and honestly still really good. So weapons like this, they have no place in the game as far as I'm concerned, And I don't think that DE did enough work to make this actually something that we could even consider. Like, yeah, I could use this right now, but look at how, like, pitiful this is. Like, the enemies are still alive. There's a giant clump of enemies, though, but they're still alive. They would already be dead if I used an actual AoE weapon. So, you know, you technically could use this if you wanted to, if you think this is satisfying, but also keep in mind, this is not good against the Acolyte either. You would want to use a Corrosive on the Acolyte, as this weapon is actually stacking up slash procs very quickly, but they're little slash procs combining together. You know, the Acolyte is, you basically want big slash procs of the Acolyte, and this is going to get, because they have a slash proc cap of 4. As you can see right there, the slash procs are not going above 4. His health's going down really low, and since I was unable to kill him fast, he actually killed me, disabling my abilities and all that. So, yeah, if you're going to be using a Prisma Grakata, a Tenora Prime, or whatever, make sure you either mod for Corrosive or bring a Acolyte killing weapon like the Glaive Prime. I do have the Glaive Prime equipped in this gameplay footage, but I wanted to show how the Prisma Grakata is. And now look at this. This weapon cannot handle this situation. There's so many enemies in front of me. The farms in this game are kill focused. It's either CC the enemies or kill the enemies. Those are your two options, really, in this game. And if you kill enemies, you get more loot from them. You get more resources. You get mods, bring down endo. That's what this. There's CCing is only basically for trying to get rotational rewards. So, yeah, I don't see any point for these existing. They did not do enough work to actually make this a viable option, because you see, like, the second I switch to melee, it's like, oh, life support's not an issue anymore. I'm even using the Panzerwolf Phyla to give these enemies viral procs, so they're basically super softened up. So, yeah, it's not a good look. I don't know what they would do. We already talked about this before. We basically need a Warframe 2, I think, to make this actually a thing that we're considering. Like, you know, maybe like something like breaking the enemy's shield requires multiple hits quickly. It's similar to like nullifiers. Give enemies nullifier armor, like similar to nullifier armor. Like shooting them with a big explosive Tsar, it's gonna break off like maybe like 20% of their armor. But if you had a fast firing weapon, like, you know, the Prisma Grakata, like we're doing this video on right now, it would make the enemy's armor, like the elite enemy's armor, broken, and then you could easily kill them afterwards. Similar to a Nox, but more, you know, encouraging like either precision weapons or fast firing weapons. Those are the types of things we need. We need actual changes to the enemies in this game, or it's not going to work. This is going to be a meme. I'm not going to ever waste a Rivet unlock or an Arcane Unlocker on a generic full auto assault rifle ever again. And I like the Prisma Grakata. I wanted this thing to work out, but we either are too power creeped with the explosion weapons, or these are just not cut. Which it's probably a little bit of both, honestly. I don't think throwing punch through on here would have really changed much. Well, I'd be killing 2 or 3 enemies at once instead. I'm already at like 13% life support. It's not sustainable like weapon type and playstyle for this Steel Path footage. And of course, it would be the same thing. Actually, it would probably be even worse in normal missions, because the nice thing about the Steel Path is the enemies are actually scaled up to a 4-player spawn amount. In normal mode, there's not enough enemies spawning that you can actually even support sustain life support, unless you're playing like Necros or Korra or something like that. So yeah, not too good. I know this is not really a Prisma Grakata video, but it's kind of like why I'm not going to be making videos on like generic assault rifles going forward. Because like, what's the point? Why would you use this? What is the purpose of you using this? Same with the Soma Prime. Same with the Tenora Prime. Same with the Stradivar Prime. You know, even Super Vandal. Super Vandal has the Aug mod to give you, you know, return energy, but it's not going to be red critting like this, probably. So, yeah, we can quickly show this in Simulacrum, though. If you, for some reason, still want to use generic full assault rifles in Warframe, when extremely powerful AoE weapons are an option, you know, I can't save you. But we will show you the No Riven mod build here real quick in the Simulacrum. Keep in mind, you do want to get those kills to get your Merciless stacked up. And I don't really feel like Primary Deadhead is super useful here either. I mean, yeah, the headshot multiplier might be nice for slash procs, but remember from the video the other day, this headshot multiplier and like all this precision damage stuff, you do not get these stacks from slash procs. So Merciless is always going to be the best option, because we rely on slash procs for these high-level enemies. All right, Bane of the Grenier, we could technically take it off and put on Prime Shred, like I said, but it's a huge loss in damage. It will definitely help you with, you know, stacked up enemies, though. So right there, no punch through. So the dead bodies actually are kind of like a obstacle for us to get past. And you know, it kills them really fast. Like if you're playing low-level missions, sure, I mean, you can use whatever you want in low-level missions. Then we start shooting the actual elite enemies here. That guy said his armor removed, so it's not a big deal. But even if it was killing them in one bullet, honestly, like, you know what's kind of sad in this game and how power corrupt we've come? Let's say there's like 20 enemies right here. Going like this, killing all those enemies at that speed, 1 bullet per enemy, is not fast enough. because AoE guns kill that enemy and the enemies behind you in one shot. And even me going like this, one-shotting every enemy is not good enough for supporting your life support at high levels. In my personal experience, I've tried at least 3 or 4 non-AoE generic assault rifles like this, and they don't stack up, guys. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the AoE primary videos and all that kind of stuff, the beam weapons, like chaining beam weapons, because that's what the videos will be about. This is the only generic assault rifle video you're going to see from me probably, unless like some game-breaking thing happens. Weapons like the flux rifle, people are like, oh, the Tenet flux rifle is so good. It's a simulacrum weapon. It's for killing single target simulacrum that's not moving. It's a similar thing with the Convectrix. You know how fast I can kill an enemy with the Convectrix and the simulacrum? Really, really fast. I mean, it's instant basically, but it's not fast enough. It's not fast enough because life support drops from enemies. It's not a guaranteed drop, and you have to basically be killing like 5 enemies per shot to actually be worth your salt at all. Insta-death. Too slow. Too slow for actual missions. Too slow for survivals. You know, and of course, this is also the thing is you're competing with melee. Why would I use this over melee? Oh, look, it's really cool to see them die to slash procs when they're standing there. You know what is also the same thing? I can do the same thing with the frickin' glaive. Those guys are all dead. The entire room is dead now. And of course, the glaive is one of the strongest weapons in the game, so it might be a bad comparison. But, you know, these are the things. You can only equip one. You can only use one weapon at a time. Like, you can switch between the weapons, but that moment of time you're swinging that melee, you're not shooting a gun during that time. You have only limited options of what you can use. You can only equip one Warframe, which is why some frames are bad. When you say Valkyrie is bad, sure, her abilities can be good, but why would I equip Valkyrie when I can equip a frame that's better than her? Because I can only use one frame at a time. These are the choices we have to make. I can equip this, but why would I even bother shooting this if I can use my time killing the enemies with something more efficient like this? So, hope you guys found the video helpful. It's not really a rant. It's too late for a rant, honestly. But I hope you guys found this video helpful. You know, lots of videos coming out soon. I'm not mad or anything like about that. I know DE can't solve this problem. It's a problem they can't solve unless they do some big changes. Like I said earlier, make enemies have nullifier armor where it takes multiple bullets to break it. So big AOE Brahma shots aren't going to just like insta kill the enemies like they do right now. Either way, guys, talk to you next time. Peace.